40.
39.
Number 1.
39.
38.
37.
36.
35.
34.
33.
32.
31.
30. 29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
21.
20.
19.
18.
17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12.
11. 10.
9. 8.
7.
6.
5.
4.
3.5.
3.
2.
1.
Hey, Rocky, you want to see me pull a show out of my hat? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Hi, and welcome to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty, fresh take on politics, and we got a good show for you tonight. We have I would say, I'm not going to say troublemakers, but this is going to be the Misfit Toys maybe episode of what's going on in politics, because I think everybody on here has been persecuted at one time because of politics. So what we're going to have is Curtis Schultz going to come on for a second here, and we're going to talk about his good news that he had after 7 years of legal wrangling and stuff. It seems like a big nothing burger. So other than the fact that it almost darn near ruined his life. So other than that, it's no big deal. And then we're going to have Ken Colbert come on. He's down in Vanderburgh County, stirring it up and shaking it up and all that good stuff. We're going to bring him on with Curtis for a minute, and then we're going to get to the panel. I see everybody's back there ready to go. We got our normal Brad, Tiffany, and Lucy ready to fire up some questions. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Curtis. And Curtis, how are you this evening?
I'm good, John. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, just fine as frog hair split 3 ways. Actually, I feel a little bit under the weather. I woke up this morning, I had a little bit of a cold. So if I fall over later, then you know what happened. So, but we're good. We're good. Lisa says, "Oh, you got to cancel the show." I said, "That show must go on." So anyway, let's get to your stuff. You've had a pretty whirlwind couple of days here. You thought you were going to trial, and then all of a sudden, oh, maybe we don't have anything. So give our viewers a little bit of a update on what's happening.
Well, for nearly 7 years, I've been dogged by this litigation and these accusations and this public acrimony over what happened at AJ's Tavern on March 15, 2018. Beware the Ides of March. And long story short, I'm on my way to Indianapolis on Sunday afternoon because the long-awaited jury trial that would establish what had actually happened was scheduled to begin in Indianapolis on Monday. So I was traveling down on Sunday. I was talking to my lawyer on the phone, preparing because we were planning to go to trial and present our case. When we got an email from the counsel for the plaintiffs, indicating in the immortal words of no mas, they were done, they were quitting.
No more.
And I want to emphasize that there was no settlement. There was no financial settlement, no settlement of any nature, no conditions. This was they were giving up. They were stopping. Now, aside from my surprise, it really shouldn't have been much of a surprise, because this entire process over the last several years has been about beating me up in the public, beating me up in the press, being pawns for the political establishment that wanted to take me out, dragging things out, getting me out of office, and then hanging litigation around my neck over and over and over again. In this particular iteration, there was maybe 3 or 4 continuances by the plaintiff. Each time the continuance was several months to over a year. And this case was supposed to be tried first in 2022. Got continued. Never by me. Never by me. I wanted my day in court. I wanted that day in front of a jury of my peers. I believe in the justice system, and that justice would prevail if you have that opportunity to allow it to work. These plaintiffs did not want to go to trial. I'm beginning to think that they never did want to go to trial. less than 24 hours after they were going to have an opportunity to say whatever they had to say in a courtroom and do justice, they pulled the plug.
I heard you tell me that they had offered you for an apology and all this, and they would drop. So there was some stipulations that they were saying, "Hey, we'll drop this if you do this and that." And you've from day one, you've said no.
Well, John, here's the thing: I'm not going to apologize for what I didn't do.
Right.
That's crazy. And you know, the other thing that we have to consider is that this thing has always been conflated by vagaries. Curtis Hill groped 4 women. Now, who can tell me what a grope is? And if he said that, well, what do you mean by grope? Well, he touched someone on the arm, on the shoulder, on the back. These things are conflated to be antisocial behavior, and no one's holding anybody accountable for what the allegations even were. So we were very prepared with a strong case we've known this case for years now, going on 7 years.
One of the things I want to talk about here is, I've heard our friend Michael Beckwith. He said one of the things, he did a great statement, except for it said Curtis's was similar to Greg Taylor's. And I thought, no. It's not close because you were in a public area. And his was over years. And this Thomas Cook with the city, same thing. 10 years of this stuff. It just really.
Well, they're completely different things. They're talking about workplace issues over years period of time. We're talking about an event at a crowded bar. We're at a bar the size of my garage. There's maybe well over 100 people in there, wall to wall, elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder. It's a party-like atmosphere. It's like New Year's Eve, or for political people, when your party wins and you go to the victory party. The night of the big celebration, people are hugging, people are laughing, people are telling jokes, they're singing, they're dancing. I mean, this was not some somber workplace program, and yet we have witnesses all over. The setup was horrendous. And what's really unfortunate, there's lots of unfortunate things that happen in this story, but these plaintiffs allowed themselves to be used by the political apparatus that was gunning for me. And that's there's people that were sitting back watching this unfold, manipulating the players and having a great time because they're going after people who don't agree with them. They go after people who have an independent streak, who have a voice, who know how to fight back. And that's very unfortunate that they allowed this to happen.
Yeah. And one of the things I've been thinking about since the dismissal is, to me, it seems like they're trying to throw some shade on the Democrats' misgivings. It's like, wait a second, if we go ahead and do this with Curtis, this is not going to look good for our Greg Taylor, for our Thomas Cook, for that. So, that may have come into a little bit of play, but I honestly think that this thing was just a farce from the start and all the way to the end. But the timing, in 7 years, you don't know that, Greg Taylor's going to have issues and Thomas Cook's going to have issues for longer than 7 years. And nothing happens to these people. Nobody's resigning. They called for your resignation with no trial, no anything, no. So I would hate to it's not even about me. I just want to say, I don't know how you stayed calm and collected during the whole thing. I would have friggin' lost it.
Well, I'm a badass. Let's face it, I'm a badass when it comes right down to it. This happened within hours. They called for my resignation within hours, John, within hours from my own party. Without calling me, without talking to me, without giving me any benefit of the doubt. Those rascals are rotten to the core for what they've done. And with Senator Taylor, as you said, he's acknowledged that he blurred the lines, whatever that means. That's a clever way of saying yes, I suppose. So he blurs the lines. And what have they called? Not only have the Democrats not called for his resignation, but the Republicans haven't called for his resignation.
Well, and then they made him minority speaker. Come on. It's the same day. Well,
it just goes to show that all the talk about, we're out to protect people, we're out to make safe environments. These politicians just talk shit. That's the bottom line.
Talking out the side of their neck. I hear you.
We have a responsibility to hear that and make changes and vote these people out of office.
Yep. Yeah, we do. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Ken Colbert now here, and let's see if we can get this. We're going to do this right here. Put me down there and you guys up here. Hey, that was a good warning, wasn't it, Ken? I'm glad you were there.
I'm here.
Yeah, when I say that. So Ken Colbert, that's the Colbert Report, and he's fighting the good fight down in Vanderburgh County. That's Evansville. He's actually on slow time, as we call it. He's on the central time, and all. It's probably still daylight down there. But he's on the show here, and he was scheduled for the show, and he's been gracious enough to give Curtis a little bit of time because I don't think anybody really. I mean, this is sort of interesting. I think that even if it did go to trial, we still might be talking about it being over by now. But, you don't know if they could drag stuff out. But anyway, I wanted to bring Ken on here to have some comments and ask some questions of Curtis that he might have some insight here, seeing how he's deep inside of the deep state and trying to, wrestle them together and make life uncomfortable for him. So, Ken, go ahead.
Right. I think Curtis and I are kindred spirits when it has to deal with some of the antics that are going on within our own party. But Curtis had a question. What recourse? Because instantly when this dismissal came through, I thought that there should be some type of retribution that you could pursue the people that made these false allegations. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, there's lots of issues there in talking about. From my perspective, I need to move on. I don't need to look back. I want to look back from the standpoint of understanding what occurred and talking about what occurred. I mean, we have a new testimonial in terms of what's happened to me in the last 7 years that I think is not only critical for my own further development, but I think it's critical to get that information out to people to understand what happened. So I do want to work on that aspect. But in terms of laying in the weeds or looking for retribution, as it were, the best retribution that I can demonstrate is to make a comeback into public service or to engage in some type of activity that benefits mankind.
Right.
So from my standpoint, I'm moving in a positive forward direction as opposed to looking at who we have to mop up for this.
Okay, so we got this one here from Tommy Ice. Sometimes if you got a good question in the chat, we'll put it up there. The wrap up smear. Where do you go to get your reputation back? So I think that's a fair question.
It's a fair question, and I don't have a good answer for that because, here's the thing. People who know me, who like me, who respect me, never bought into this in the first place. And the people who are afraid of me or intimidated by me or whatever negative about me won't care at all one tick that these women drop their claim. They'll say, well, there has to be something here. And that's the problem that we have in politics today is if you like somebody, you're always with them. If you don't like somebody, you're never with them. And the truth gets buried in the process. What I want to see is a world in which we can demonstrate truth about people, truth about positions, about topics, and defend and wage war on the truth. So I think that's the best thing that we can hope for.
Yeah, and I think that the media, the mainstream media, is just as culpable for this. And honestly, we're getting ready to do our 200th show here on Mouthwash. That's 4 years worth of shows. And the reason I started this is because of the unfair media coverage that we were able to get. And you can see how they put it out there. People believe it. They just,
Well, they blew it up. I mean, this thing first was the General Assembly did a clandestine investigation of me and used anonymous people. They wouldn't tell me the names of anybody. It was all hidden. They distorted the allegations. They even put it out. They leaked the report, a confidential report, to the media, and then the media took off. And this thing became the biggest circus, selling papers, and it had nothing to do with fair play. This thing happened back when same time Kavanaugh was going through his thing. And what's interesting, we had Republicans who were supporting Kavanaugh who had called for my resignation. They were supporting the idea that he should get a day in court, but for Curtis Hill, let's just oust him.
Yeah, I think this is a great victory in the question of how do you get your reputation back. I know you, Curtis, you're going to be just fine with that. Right. Ken, you got one more question, and then we're gonna wrap this up because I see the panel back there ready to get going.
Yeah, just an observation, Curtis. I really think you're quite the gentleman. You had the right response and how to navigate all of this, and people still see through that and support you.
Well, I appreciate that, Ken. Thank you very much.
Yep. So, Curtis, all the well, you've been, we had you on the show a couple weeks ago, and I didn't even know you were coming up for court. I just was having you on because of the Greg Taylor thing. I thought, you know what, you got a bad rap on this, and I want to expose a little bit of this. So sometimes, the blind squirrel catches some peanuts or whatever.
And on that point, then I'll let you go. On that point, we knew we were going to trial. I sort of underestimated the media's desire to still have an interest in this. But interestingly enough, the Friday before the trial was scheduled to start, the court that we were in received, as I understand, 19 requests for media opportunities in court. 19 media requests to come in and blow this thing up again. And I think they're clearly looking for another negative story, but I think we fooled them.
Yes, I agree. Well, it's just another part of the battle, and unfortunately, you're not the only one that's had this happen to. I've had on a way lesser scale of lawfare, as we'll call it. Trying to put something on somebody and run it out and then dismiss it, and everybody thinks after my thing, like it was just I had somebody come up to me and say, "I heard you killed somebody in a bar." It was like, well, yeah. So
you said, "No, I killed two people."
Yeah, really. I beat one of them with the other one to death. Or yeah. So yeah, it was. How it is that. And then once that word gets out there, it's like putting cooked spaghetti back in the box.
Well, it's
hard to do.
It's guilt. It's guilt by accusation, and that's what's happening in justice today. It's got to stop. If we lose our justice system, which is the cornerstone of our American freedom, we lose it all. Mm-hmm. And we're on the verge of that with how things have been operating. My case is just but an example of that at the local level. It's happening all over the place, and it requires good people to step up and speak truth.
Well, my friend, you are a good people, and I think more and more people are starting to wake up to this, and we appreciate you for being a regular on our show. And Curtis I have a picture of Curtis with a tinfoil hat on, but I'm saving that for blackmailing him later. So yeah,
blackmail. That's a familiar.
I'm sorry, that sounds racist. But it's fine. So my friend, we will be talking to you soon. We will be looking forward to your next move, because I know you are not done.
Well, thank you, fellas.
We will be glad to support you in any of that you do.
Well,
so Curtis,
thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
All right. Let's get to it here. All right, we got Ken Colbert. Let's put it on the big screen there. All right, Ken.
Go.
All right. Thanks for coming on and talking to Curtis. So tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your show. I know you were on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. We're on several platforms right now. On Rumble, my cohort and I do what we call Colbert Report. You'll find it under the Rumble, and it's all about activity happening down here in Vanderburg or Southwest Indiana related to politics. You can also find it on Twitter. It's K Colbert Report. We put up a lot of information that's happening. And then, of course, I'm on Telegram also under the same call letters, Colbert Report. On Telegram, you can upload the actual written documents. Rumble, you can actually have the video content. We've been doing a series every week. We've been hot and heavy after what's happening with the illegals within the state of Indiana. In fact, we even took the show to the road and went to Washington, Indiana, where we showed exactly what was happening in their communities, what they call these TPS, temporary protected status. So as this Republican in bad standing, we've embraced this and being able to expose both sides of the political aisle about some of the anomalies and things that are happening within the state of Indiana.
So, one of the questions I have is why doesn't this, and I'm just going to call them the establishment, just because for no better sense of a word, why did they not come and talk to Ken Colbert and see what have they done anything like that, or they just sort of try to? I say it's like they try to discourage and destroy, rinse and repeat. They don't have a conversation. There's never a conversation involved.
Never. No, in fact, let me go back in time a little bit. Of course, I and my cohorts were involved in the PC project, Precinct Commitment. Okay. And just a quick overview, we're supposed to have 134 PCs in Vanderburgh County. And at the time, whenever the current leadership was there, is still there, that they were running with about 50 people. And most of those were appointed. So we fixed that problem. We literally ran individuals during this last time and was able to secure out of the 134, 86 elected PCs. Okay, so we had the vast majority. And there was no supportive accolades, the fact that we had embraced and got a lot of diversity of people within the party. Quite the contrary. And because of us securing the majority, then of course, that's why I have this Republican in bad standing status. But at no time does the elected officials or the people within the party ever embrace myself or any of the other people to have any kind of dialogue. So hence, we decided to do an exposure and to do some research on the Republican and Democrat side of the aisle. And as a result of that, we've uncovered a lot of things that the public has really opened their eyes to. So I think God had a lot of control in this, absolutely, in helping us design this platform to educate the public about what our officials are doing down here in Vanderburgh County. But to answer your question, no, not one, not even the county chairman if we had a conversation.
Yeah, well, it's that's what Spiro Reclianos. We've done the same similar thing here. You have 134 precinct committee. We have 618, and we only had about 50 elected. The rest were appointed, and there wasn't a lot of those. So we were able to get. And our approach was a little different. I think your approach was more punching them in the nose. We're going to get our people. We don't care. In fact, it was so punch them in the nose. Did I hear you say that you're not a Republican in good standing anymore because of something? Because you had your car had a racing stripe on it. I don't. What is that?
Yeah. Again, there was a hearing taking place after we got all these people at the finish line. I'm an elected official as well. I won my races. I'm very electable, is what it is. And the 8th district decided, based upon the county chairman's complaint, that I'm too critical of the Republican Party, of some of the elected officials. And so because of that, they had a hearing, and within 3 minutes, they threw me out of the party as a Republican in bad standing. And so I'm electable, but I'm not part of it because I'm following the Republican platform of being ultra conservative.
It's it's a club and you ain't in it.
Yeah.
We have very, very, very similar. And, I know that there's, in Vermilion County, there's some other things going on in Madison County. And I don't want to put Marion County in that group because our strategy has been, we want to work with the party. So Ken, I don't think it matters how you do it. If you want to work with them or if you want to punch them in the nose, whatever, they're not going to work with you. And that's, the name of this show is working together. I mean, we just, can we just work together? I just don't see the benefit in fighting, the infighting. You're keeping up the good fight, and we just keep getting more people. More people.
And don't forget about in March, we get to elect and determine who the county chairman will be. We have the majority. You have to have 50 plus 1 to make it happen. And so we're ready to run the candidate to get that person over the finish line. And the leadership will be changing in Vanderburgh County.
Yep. So run us some of our viewers that may not know how this works. And, this is the county chairman. And what does that job entail? And then I want to bring the panel on. So everybody backstage, get ready. Brad, get ready. I don't see you back there.
Okay. Well, what it entails as far as the leadership, whether or not it's Republican or Democrat, the chairman will determine about the direction the party is going to go, whether or not it's going to be limited or all inclusive, etc. And following the agenda of the platform of the Republican Party in this example. And with our local leadership down here, they wanted more control. They want what we called the country club Republican, so that they could have certain individuals in those capacities. And many of these were not even elected because they never ran. They got appointed. And so once we had our majority in that position, we had the opportunity to remove the county chairman. And the actual bylaws say that you have to have 2/3 of the vote. So if you do the math, you had to have 90 people. We had 86. So we had a meeting, and they determined that we would wait until March to change the leadership because it was way too close at that point. But the county chairman is the one that brings everyone together, that does adheres to the Republican platform that the state of Indiana Republican Party does, which is another situation we should be talking about. But in Vanderburgh County, from my point of view, the county chairman has not done an effective job at all in embracing all of these new people in the party.
Right. Yeah. And that it is very frustrating because I don't think we can afford to do that. You can see the governor's race was closer than it should have been, and
right.
Some of the areas, and it's almost like the more they campaigned, the worse they did.
Well, do know that the 86 of the people that we had in our PCs were supporting Micah Beckwith. The leadership here in Vanderburgh County did not. They were supporting Julie openly. We wanted Micah over the finish line, and we got him over it. Okay.
Yeah.
But
again, that was a linchpin in some changes. And again, I don't think spiking the football is not necessary.
Right.
But there is, take heed, because there's a lot of folks that are out there doing this for the love of Indiana. They're not getting paid. We just want to get it figured out. We want fairness. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Brad on. Brad, are you back there ready? Let's see about Brad. Let's go with this one. There we go. Hey, Brad, how you doing? Oh, you're muted. Yeah, I give you a week off and you forget how to do the show.
Yeah, I missed you guys. Hey, how's it going?
I know. Usually, Ken, we're a little bit giddy after we haven't seen each other for a couple weeks, but
really?
So people have been being mean to me on Twitter.
Who is?
Just people.
Well, okay.
Twitter's weird. It's a lot more cutthroat.
It's brutal. Social media is not so social.
What is your handle on there on Twitter? What is it?
It's just my name, I think. I treat it like I do nothing like magical with it.
Nothing.
So,
okay. All right.
No magic.
Yeah.
No magic involved.
Nope. No magic.
No magic involved. All right, let's go ahead and bring Lucy on. Lucy. How you doing, Lucy?
Well, I'll give you my standard answer, better than I deserve given my sordid past.
Yep. So did you miss the show last week? I was down in Florida. It was I left, it was 50, and I got back, it was 50, but I guess it got cold in between. So sorry about that.
Yeah.
Don't hate me.
I'm just going to blame you for the weather. I mean, just like you have no control over other things in your life, we're just going to blame you for that.
That's all right. I got the big shoulders. Let's go ahead and bring Tiffany on. Let's see, Tiffany, what's happening?
Hello, how are you guys doing?
We're doing well. And we got the gang all back together. And before we get going with Ken here, hey, Brad, were you able to get Alvin Louie to come on the show next week? Are we?
Well, no, he's the one being mean to me again.
Well,
right
I want him to come on the show if he's being mean to you.
Yeah, so. But he said no because he wanted it to be one-on-one. He's afraid that you guys are all on my side somehow.
He's not been watching the show lately. Yeah,
I know, right? Like that made me laugh. So,
does he want to meet you out back? You and him?
Yeah.
No,
behind
we had
the
two
library.
nurses go out at the library, and I'm like,
throw the book at him, Dano.
Did you say out behind the library?
Library.
No,
library. You guys are killing me. All right, enough of this silliness. See, Ken, this is what happens. We haven't seen each other in a couple of weeks, and we get silly. So this is serious business we got about going on here. So, Lucy, I'm going to start with you because I know you think that the Democrats and the Republicans are train wrecks. So you've come to the right place tonight, I think.
Well, what I would say to my dear friend Ken is you knew what you were getting into. I mean, if you go into a room with vipers and snakes, then you can't be surprised when they act like vipers and snakes. Mm-hmm. So I'm not surprised. You can't get hired by McDonald's and expect to turn them into an organic, clean food organization. So I appreciate what you are valiantly doing, because obviously you're very conservative and you're trying to do the right thing. But you're just surrounded, man. You're in a den of thieves. So what should you do about it?
I'm not a victim, though. I'm a problem solver. You don't know me that well yet. And so right now we're identifying the problems down here, and they don't like it when you put the spotlight on them. So, totally aware of what I'm getting involved in. So I appreciate that support.
Yeah, no worries. I was not trying to cast you in the victim, so I'm sorry if it came out that way. For me, it's more like irony because one of the reasons that I'm a libertarian is because growing up, my parents were Republican and I saw the problems with it. And I decided to take Buckminster Fuller's advice. And Bucky Fuller said, you can't change the system from the inside. So the best thing to do is to create an entirely new system that's better. People will flock to it. And then the old one just dies from lack of support.
Right.
We got some work to do on that one.
That's
for
written.
sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is. And without a ton of money and without a plethora of volunteers and a movement, it's tricky to do. Yeah, go ahead, Tiffany.
I want to hear more. You said you were elected. I was wondering what you're elected to, and I'd like to hear more about these country club Republicans. Is that the new moniker we're going with?
You're so excited by that.
You like that?
Like, look at you.
You like that verbiage?
Obviously, I'm not one of them. So I'm
Yeah,
not
the country club Bigfoot Republican.
You didn't join Sagamore up there? I'm shocked. I thought you were a country club Republican.
I just got to the porch of the big house.
Oh dear.
Well, let's just say I do know these country club Republicans very well from a business perspective, from a social. I'm in that environment as well. Okay. But when you get involved in politics, for me, it's very clear you represent the people, period, whether or not you're Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. And so there was a little bit of a delusion when the Republican Party down here in Vanderburgh County, I discovered that there's motive for many of these people in this position, whether or not it's to help their businesses out or their relationships, etc. So that was a little bit eye-opening. Not that I'm naive, because I'm a baby boomer and I've had a lot of life experiences in regards to that. But as an elected official, I've been a mayor of a community when I was very young. I got elected, okay? And then recently I ran for precinct committeeman because of the objective we had adhered to, and thousands of votes. State delegate, I won that too. But I was thrown out. I could not be up there I went inside and actually got escorted out.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
You got escorted out?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I got thrown out of the Democrat one.
Did you?
You guys, wow. I love these stories.
Yeah, I've made a name of myself down here, and I do know these people. As an elected official, I represent the people, period. I don't represent a particular party. It represents the people. And the platform in my situation, the Republican platform, I adhere to that. But what I have discovered is that within my own party, they legally can deviate from their platforms and policies. We've caught them in many situations, okay? And so on my platform, we talk about all of these anomalies that happen down here, and they don't like it because we call out specific names of people that are involved in this.
Well, you come to the right show. We make
people don't like that.
Yeah,
nobody likes that.
It's like mean.
Well, wait, can you tell me more? You brought up Micah Beckwith.
Yes.
Brad has on his jacket, so he has to be serious.
Yep. Well, I think I wrote down a question. No. How do you think he's done so far? Like, what grade would you give him? Just based on like the IU student newspaper thing. Have you heard about the Washington Westfield?
Oh, yes. I read all of it. The pros, cons, I read it all. I will tell you that Micah Beckwith aligns with my personal values. I give him an A+. Okay. I believe that the Republican Party is going in the wrong direction as far as conservatism. And I fully supported him. And along with several people in Vanderburgh County, got him over the finish line over the other candidate that was handpicked for that position.
Yes, you are part of that. I realize that. This is what I was like not scared of, but just I called this shit out, God, for so long ago. Okay. And it's just he's already doing things.
And what do you want me? You wanted me to apologize? You want me to capitulate?
No. Like, do you? I mean, everyone said before, it's like Micah's not going to do X, Y, Z. And he's already going into like school or like, making comments about defunding schools.
Wait a minute. He's talking about a voucher system, which I support, because the people currently over the administration in the school system is not providing the best educational opportunity. That is the parents' responsibility. And I am in full support of the voucher system so the parents can determine if they want to continue down this path with the public school system where they're hiring these teachers that are there for activism and not for the benefit of the child.
Where are these schools?
In Vanderburgh County, it's Wrights High School. They have a gender identity club right there. So if I felt like a woman that day, they think that's normal. Okay, that is not normal. And it's Wrights High School on the west side of Evansville. And the Vanderburgh County School Corporation is fully aware of this because we tell them frequently. In fact, even in our public libraries down here, we have tampons in the men's restroom. Where am I supposed to put that? Okay. And these,
you know that
they're good for
some
nosebleeds.
sporting events though that are like
right.
Sporting events though that are all women, they open up the men's room to the women too. So
Brad,
right?
Brad, I'm fully.
Do you guys go to school
Really?
events?
Okay.
Brad.
I go to school events. I mean,
I mean,
do
it's
you
not.
have tampons in the boys' bathroom at your library?
We have 2 bathrooms. And they're
I'm
unisex.
disappointed it's taking you too long to say no.
No,
He's not a
they're
real
in
man.
both bathrooms.
What?
I
They
said
are
he's not
in
a real
both
man if he
bathrooms.
takes that
You
position.
have tampons in both of the boys' bathroom at your library?
No, we have like a little disposal area. I think just
You're asking the wrong person. He shouldn't know about the tampons. Although he is the director now, so he should maybe know.
but we don't actually like provide them. I know that we don't do that.
There's not a dispenser on the wall in the boys' bathroom for tampons, is there?
There is not like a boys' room and a girls' room. There are 2 separate bathrooms.
Are they like
with a water
unisex
fountain
or whatever?
in
Oh,
between them?
Okay.
so they're just two bathrooms.
I mean, did you ever think we would
Yeah,
have
that
such
kinda,
a
I mean, and honestly, it kind of solved that issue then, right? Can't you just give everybody a toilet and shut up? Like
So-
all of us collectively,
What
not
about-
you guys. I just mean like all
What
of us
about your
collectively.
blue collar man who demands a urinal? What about him?
What about like in the 80s when they used to have stalls with no doors on them at schools? Like who
I never went to a school like that.
are you serious? Oh my god. Okay. I was
Yeah,
just
that was
talking
where-
about this
where-
yesterday.
that's where they
I
kept
was.
Micah Beckwith, though. You were asking about Micah Beckwith. Okay.
Yeah. What? So. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Go on. So.
No, please. I'd like to hear your point of view. This is always interesting in the minds of another point or different perspective.
Well, I guess. Do you feel that he kind of threatened defunding, a public school, or like the kind of like threatening the job of the superintendent and the principal? I mean,
Yeah,
I
you're
think
thinking of the one that canceled his meeting, and then he pointed out to the entire public about what that institution was doing. Okay.
And how did he do that? Didn't he go on Kendall and Casey?
He did. I heard that afterwards. He solved a problem. That's the kind of people I gravitate toward. People.
And then they told everybody that was listening to the radio station to call the superintendent. And right?
It is a public telephone number. What you forget is
I'm not.
These people work for us. Okay. I want personal accountability. I want transparency. And when these elected officials, okay, or the people that are in these leadership roles are not fulfilling their obligations to the community, that's when the people should start pushing back. That is the same type of superintendent that would have required masking of the children, okay? It's all about the money, because by them masking those children through the ESSER funds, they got paid all this money. Okay, I have a problem as a taxpayer. I want accountability. Did Micah Beckwith say that you could call? Absolutely. That is a published number. That man at that school corporation works for the people, period. Okay. Yep. And I'm sick of these people that are in these leadership roles that are not fulfilling their obligations to the people. Now, Mike is much eloquent in his speech. Mine is more assertive when I'm calling out my elected officials, whether or not it's at a public forum, privately or on social media. We never threaten these people, but they have to understand they work for us. And if they don't work for us, we make the necessary changes to get them out of office. We're working to remove Todd Young. He is the epitome of the Rhino. We do not want this man in that position. The only people that do are the people that are down here in Vanderburgh County. They support him. And
The country club people. So one of the things, Brad, that I want to bring up is, you know how this got all into the media is the other side that protested against Micah Beckwith. They called first and made it a big issue about, hey, this guy's a child molester. We don't want him in our school.
But it was the parents, though. Like,
can I say something? So this is from my military experience, having gone to Alabama, 1996. I'm an African-American female officer. I've got, 100 people working for me. I'm one of few Black women. I'm the only Black officer. So I just want to put it in context. And there's a way that you deal with authority. There's respect for the office, and then there's how you feel about the person. And so if the lieutenant governor is going to go to any public school in the state of Indiana, it should not be a problem because he is the lieutenant governor.
Yeah, and the way they
period. Yeah. He is the lieutenant governor, and you have to have respect for that position, no matter who holds it.
But shouldn't there be still a transparency of what he's going to speak about?
Well, he was going to talk about agriculture.
Beans. He's going to talk about beans and corn.
So that's the thing.
Right.
Is if your lieutenant governor is coming in relationship to his job to do one of his functions, then parents need to understand that, be present so that you can really see what's going on. But the idea of saying, no, he can't come, we don't want him to come because of X, Y, and Z, that's him. That's not him as the lieutenant governor. They're two totally different things. And I say that because there were people who worked for me who obviously had problems with working with minorities, but then there were people who understood that I was a commissioned officer and I had authority. I could arrest people, I could detain people, and I could do all of those things because of the office that I held. So that's the problem with a lot of these squeaky wheels in the suburbs, is that these people are being very emotional, they're being very loud, they're making phone calls, but people aren't taking a deep breath and saying, hey, if the lieutenant governor elect wants to spend some time with our students, we're fine with it. Parent, if you are not, come be present or bring your child home from school.
Yeah,
but we're not going to prevent the lieutenant governor, who, if something were to happen to the governor, would be governor of the state of Indiana. We are not going to prohibit him from being in our public schools.
I just watched Brad's head explode live on TV.
Understand.
It's
like
I'm freaking
our taxpayer dollars. We fund the schools. We pay the teachers, not only for our taxes, we're paying them with referendums. And as a state agency, no state agency goes unsupervised, is held unaccountable. If the lieutenant governor wants to go, have at it.
All right, Ken, what's the next move? So say you get this county chair down there and say we get our county chair up here in Marion County. What is your plan to make things better?
Okay, as I said before, this leadership role will be working with the people. Okay, right now the people are isolated within our situation down here in Vanderburgh County. There's only a select few of people that have been making decisions. Okay, it's all about transparency. All right, and we do not have that, at least in the Vanderburgh County's leadership at this point.
So in the past, after say you have a reorganizational meeting and March 1st is coming up.
Right.
Have they ever done a convention after that with the county people to say, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. This is what we're going to do.
No,
they basically have not because they don't want to really know what you want to do. Is that
they don't care? They don't care. Okay.
And in 2025, no one's on the ballot. So it's going to be a really, really tough year. And Ken, if you're going to be county chair, I mean, you got to demonstrate the ability, like you said, bring people together and fundraise.
Yep. Ken, now are you running for the?
You're making an assumption of this white man here. Okay. I have no desire to be in that leadership role. I have too many other personal responsibilities. However,
I wasn't stereotyping.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't stereotyping. I'm sorry.
Okay. The leadership role will be all encompassing, just because we would be having conventions. Fundraising is not a problem. I've done that personally, and I know the right people to write out these large checks, and not for particular votes that are going to happen at the state house. We see that continuously. You look at our elected officials, you pull the reports, and you know exactly who they're working for. Like Mark Mesmer, as an example, he has got a large contribution from AIPAC, the American Israeli Political Action Committee. The man lied to my face at a public meeting. What I'm trying to disclose is there's going to be 100% transparency. These people in these leadership roles are the unconventional Republican. These are the real Republicans that adhere to the platform. And it's very easy. We already have targeted a person. We will get that one person over the finish line. You need 50 plus 1 to make it happen.
Yeah, that's cool. So Lucy, your party, they basically have a convention, and I think that I would be all in favor of all of us doing this convention to elect all of our nominees. I think we have election fatigue with all these primaries and all this garbage. But, and we do that part of the way. We got AG, we got Secretary of State, we got Comptroller. We have those at the convention, but then we don't have governor and all that. And they spent $90 million for the Republican primary. The governor's Republican primary was $90 million. That's crazy to fight against our own people. And I think that was
John Jacobs. What about John Jacobs? They spent $500,000 to unseat that man so that Julie McGuire could get in that position. That's wasteful. It's wasteful.
Yeah, and my thing is like that's poor leadership because we've had John Jacob on our show. I've not found him unreasonable to talk to. Again, it's like I asked you before. They come and talk to you. Do they sit down with you? No. They want to discourage you and destroy you. And we're not somebody on like that.
We're not manageable. That's what they don't like.
Yeah.
Do you guys think the Republican Party is too big?
I think it's too.
I think they're all
big. Incredible Hulk big. What do you mean, Brad?
Like popular in Indiana.
I think
if there are as many Republicans in Indiana, isn't it harder to all agree on something?
Yeah, lots of infighting. Correct.
Yeah, and then that's on both parties. I mean, the Democrats here in Marion County have somewhat slimmer going on, but when it's time to vote, they all line up and they all do the vote. So,
it's like a bunch of men standing around the grill, fighting over what kind of sauce to put on the ribs.
Yeah, that's the best analogy I've heard all day.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's my 50-year-old pop. A little Kojak moment.
I want to just piggyback on what John said because it's always been a sore point with me. I've been a libertarian my entire adult life. I've never voted for a Republican for president because I learned early on what the fraud was in the two-party system and quickly became a Republican. I first ran for office in 1995. So I've been around a while. And all that I see is the media jumping on the bandwagon, these primaries by the Republican and Democratic parties that are subsidized by taxpayers. And it's just advertising. It's just name brand recognition. And, we do our own. We actually do our own convention. We pay for our own convention. We pay to elect our own candidates. So it just really chaps my to pay taxes. Yeah, to pay taxes. And it's, highly unfair to the Hoosier taxpayer, whether you're Democrat or Republican.
I think it's similar to the school voucher system. If you have a public school and you have no choice but to pay into that system. Now we have vouchers where you have a choice. And I was sitting in a meeting with Jennifer McCormick, and some other pro public school people. And I listened for about 3/4 of the meeting. And I finally just said, hey, why don't we make it so people want to go to these public schools and not have to go? And man, hey, it's time to go. You got, out.
In the 1800s, after John Dewey said, we should have public school systems, the state of Massachusetts was the first state to enshrine the idea of compulsory public education. And if parents refused to send those children to the public indoctrination center, then those parents were rounded up and arrested. So I see public education as nothing more than a way to train future citizens to shape and mold the way that they think. They literally train us with behavioral systems like bells so that we'll be great factor. Yeah. so that we'll be able to, to fit into that factory. And I'm an entrepreneur, so I don't really work for anybody. So, the idea that if I were sick, I couldn't call into work, or if I got there at 3:02 instead of 3, I just find that whole thing very offensive on a personal level. Like, that's why I would never go work for somebody else, because you're not going to tell me I've got to be there at 3 and then punish me for 3:02. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock
Yep.
somewhere. You need Margaret. Hey, Lucy, you might like this one. This is
Oh, I
one that
like that.
have you seen this before? This is
I have not, but it looks very good.
this is
Is that the one over in Plainfield?
yeah, I believe it is. And they have
Yep.
three
If I
different
were,
things,
yeah.
and yeah, and it's I think that the vacuum is getting filled because
What is it?
what is it?
Yeah, what is it?
Is a grade school over on the
It's
over in
it's
Plainfield
basically
area.
they have a 3-year, 1-year foundation, a 2-year foundation, and three, and it's basically
They're
I'll cover-
apprenticeships.
yeah, it's
It's a fantastic program.
project based.
Schoolers?
It's basically a homeschool college, sort of. He was at an event I was at, and I was like, "Wow, this is cool." But this is
I
what
forget
happens.
who does it, but it's some
I can't
entrepreneur,
remember
and
the
you
guy's
actually
name.
you pay to attend because you're paying to apprentice with somebody.
But its average cost is, look at that, $4,500. That is not $20K. I paid $20K for one of my dumb kids to go get dumber. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Starbucks money.
Yeah, it's like, well, and I was waiting on Biden to bail me out, but I went ahead and paid that damn thing off. So
I have a question. So, okay, we talked about what Senator Taylor and what he did and what happened to Curtis. So, one group chose to throw the book at somebody, and the other group chose to do nothing.
Mhm.
So, what is the appropriate response?
Good question. For you, Ken.
Well, I can talk about this too because we had somebody on our show. It's the epitome of this. It involved a sexual assault charge against both of her children, one male, one female. They're only pursuing one. It's against the male and not against the female. And so it gets into a situation where there's not accountability of these elected officials, just like in Curtis's example. They're going after him, but yet they're not going after another person. So they've weaponized that system. That's why I asked him if there would be legal recourse for him back against these, I'm assuming women who made the charges against him, that he would pursue them. And he said he would not. But you would think that there would be some kind of disciplinary action, even at the state level, that the people that brought this forward, these allegations, would be investigated by their peers to see if maybe they should lose their law licenses or be removed from those positions. There has to be accountability with this, with these attorneys bringing these fraudulent or fictitious claims against them.
Or
it's the lawfare.
Unproven. If he was supposed to go to court yesterday, but they already punished him. So,
well, I think that the timing, we talked about the timing a little bit, is that, hey, the Democrats are all up in it right now. Plus,
no. But for Curtis, what was the point in suspending his law license and all that? What was the point in punishing him before he was proven guilty?
Well, they
wanted to move him out of the way.
They wanted him out of the way because he was elected. He was wanting to run again. They ended up putting Todd Rokita in there, which is doing a great job too. Okay, but they did it on purpose.
To me, that's the problem, is that you punished me and then you canceled my trial.
That's exactly the problem. That frustrates a lot of people that they've done these type of things. And it's very similar to when I ran for mayor. I got the state put a charge against me. No one ever was arrested, and they planned the thing out till a day before the slating and dropped the case. To go over a year. Yeah, you haven't heard this story? Tumultuous activity is what I was charged with. There was a guy that came on our job site up in Boone County and was attacking everybody, and he assaulted me, and I choked him out. The police came, he called the police. He wanted me to go to jail. He was just a not nice person.
That's not self-defense?
Yeah, it was all good. No one was arrested. They left. I start running for mayor in 2018, and mysteriously around June, I get a charge of tumultuous activity, and I have to go to, what's that? No, I didn't get arrested. I had to go to court. So I had to hire a lawyer. I had to go, and then I went to my case in July, and they said, okay, we're going to set it for trial in September. And I go to September, and the state, we don't have any evidence. We're going to just, we're going to conclude it, or we're going to continue it. So they continued it till the 12th of December. And I really thought I was going to get, exonerated from it, but no, they continued it again. And the slating at that time in 19 was on that Saturday in February. And that was the 3rd of February. And on the 1st, on a Friday, I go up there and there is no court in session other than my case, judge, the prosecutor, and me. And they basically went back in the chambers for about 20 minutes, came back out, case dismissed. It's like they never had a thing. And well, then you fast forward. Well, the guy ends up moving to Colorado, and now he's all hemmed up for murdering his wife. So it's like,
oh, wow.
but nobody ever comes out and said, hey, you know what? John was protected. And this guy out in New York that protected all the people on the subway from this guy. Now it's unfortunate that he passed away, but still, if you have somebody there that's causing harm to everybody, somebody needs to step up and do something. And unfortunately, I've always been that guy to do something, and sometimes it gets painful. And and in Curtis's case, you could look at this and say, hey, he didn't give in. It'd been easy for him to say, oh well, I'll sign the little thing or whatever. But no, he stood his ground the whole time, even though he was already guilty before they even tried him. He didn't get a trial. And
that part, yeah.
Well, and I think people are starting to see through that. So hopefully we're getting through this lawfare thing where they don't kick out Ken from being a delegate in a thing. Hopefully we're getting to the point now where they've done it to enough people that, hey, guess what? We're getting a little mad about it. We're getting mad.
Yeah,
so,
the thing is that people don't get mad until they're the one who gets disenfranchised. And so that's the thing, is that like we're all not on this level playing field, and we all think we're playing the same game until somebody tells you, oh, the rules are different for you. And then you're like, what? And then you got to go stand over there with the angry people. And we're just supposed to be one family. Shut up, Brad.
Hey, remember that the Republican Party and the Democrat Party are private organizations, okay? They're similar to, I use the analogy of the Masons. They can have rules and regulations, but within their own purview, they can make modifications and changes that may not and are not in our best interest. So the Republican and Democrat Party are private organizations. They can manipulate all they want within those organizations. And when outsiders see that, it's like, now, wait a minute, that doesn't seem fair. Well, they can do it because they're a private organization.
Yeah. So and that's the thing. And I know that John Rust took his to the Supreme Court, and that's pretty much what they decided, that this is a private organization. And,
right.
I went down to John's house and talked to him for Oktoberfest, and he's a decent guy. Another example of, hey, just go talk to the guy. Just go talk to him, see what he's about. He's a great guy. But they don't do that. They just want to destroy. It's discourage and destroy.
It's hurting both parties because of what they're doing, because people are getting disenfranchised with Democrats, Republicans, all of them. They've made it political, to use that word, and people are sick of it. I think you're going to see a rise of perhaps another independent party where people understand, maybe the Constitution Party, or even gravitating toward the Libertarian Party as an example. Okay. Because they're tired of all of the manipulation that they're doing on both sides of the aisle. We see it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's whatever. It's the clickbait. It's the whatever. So Adam's got a question here. This will be our last topic, and then we're going to call it a day. Lucy, are you up for the conspiracy theory? I know Ken is.
It was already handed to me in the comments.
Okay, good. All right, good. And then Yvonne had asked who the guy's name was, so I put it in the comment. You guys can look him up. And actually, I've been interviewed by 2020 and Dateline. And if everything comes to a conclusion, we'll be on there. So it's just taken forever. He was in jail for a year, and then they had screwed up all the evidence. And then since then, they found her. You can read it yourself. It's a true crime. It's literally that. So we haven't talked about Hunter Biden pardon. Now, raise your hand if you thought that Hunter Biden was not going to get pardoned. All right. That's what I thought. Sorry about that. I'm hacking.
John, you should be wearing a mask.
I know. I'm like by myself. It's like wearing a mask in your car by yourself, Brad. Come on.
That's his home mask. His car mask is in the car.
Man, Tiffany, I thought you missed me. So Let's go with Lucy across. Let's go Lucy across the top. Finish with Ken on the Hunter Biden thing.
No, we're not surprised. The only thing that I'm surprised at is that there isn't a longer list of family members who are given, immunity for all sins past, present, and future. I mean, heck, if I were president, I would do that. I don't know what my kids or grandkids are going to do, so I'm just going to go ahead and retroactively and proactively, forward actively, I'm just going to pardon them all. It's a privilege that comes with the office.
It's like I thought a pardon was always like, "Hey, I farted, pardon me." But never mind. It's sort of the
Well,
same
think
thing.
about it. There's no reason for a pardon unless there's known criminal activity.
Ooh. Oh yeah. See, and that's sort of what Curtis was saying, and a lot of folks are saying that. I think even the Adam Shifty Shift came out and said that, Brad's buddy, he probably got him on the speed dial, or at least follows him on the Twitter. He was talking about, hey, I don't need this pardon. I've not done anything wrong. So, and I'll give him kudos where kudos are. I think that's a good move. So, Tiffany, what do you think?
I love what Lucy said. There's no pardon necessary if there's been no legal activity. I am not surprised that he pardoned his son.
Yeah, I don't. I think that's why they rushed the case through, and he went ahead and plea bargained and all that stuff as fast as it happened. And then so now it doesn't look like it was that thing. But most of these folks, like they were talking about Roger Clinton getting pardoned, at least he had done the time and and all that. But he's been not much of a model citizen since. But anyway.
Did you see the memes of how Hunter celebrated?
No, I did not see such a thing.
There's some really good memes out there.
Apparently, you got to go see that on your own because I have no clips.
There's memes of him celebrating.
So, Brad, you're jumping the gun on the conspiracy theory, but I know that you don't want to get a sickness through the internet because I know you Democrats are not, the sharpest book in the library. So I figured that you'd probably think if I coughed on the camera, you'd get it.
No, I mean, I'm just waiting to try to inject the bleach, and disinfect on the inside. If that's something that I can do, I don't know. Somebody said that.
Let me know how it turns out for you. It's
yeah. If you drink it.
Drink it too.
Oh, I'm not surprised he pardoned his son. Yeah, not at all. But I don't understand the shock of Republicans at a politician saying one thing and then doing another.
Oh no, they've never done that, Brad. That mask is cutting off your oxygen.
Brad, I learned everything that I needed to know about Democrat politics when sleepy Joe Biden was damn near giddy after Kamala lost. So that told me a lot about his level of energy and interest in politics. He was damn near. He couldn't have been happier that she lost.
I don't blame him, but I don't know if we could do that. So, Ken, you've got to wind it up. And then we're going to do the conspiracy theory, if I can find it. There we go.
Okay. Look over my shoulder there. I have the Biden laptop book. Okay. I've got it. We've had it for several times. It's on both sides of the aisle. Am I surprised that Hunter was pardoned? No. But it also is the next phase of this where Hunter can speak the truth. He's going to talk about Burisma. He's going to talk about Senator Lugar of the state of Indiana in 2014. All of that's in the Hunter laptop book. It's available. Okay. It's all right there. You can see exactly what's in the laptop and you can see the playbook. So am I surprised that he was pardoned? No way. Is he now going to have to go to court and speak? Absolutely.
All right. Here's my theory on this.
I highly doubt that.
Is that
nobody talks? Nobody's going to talk.
He's not going to talk, but we hope he has to explain.
With a mask on, who are you going to make sick?
He's Tiffany. Don't even try to figure it out. Don't even try. So there's my theory on this. So this is what Joe Biden did. He came out and said, "You know what? I'm not pardoning my son. I'm not pardoning him." This is how the phone call went. Hello, Dad. Remember all that stuff you did? So if you don't pardon me, I'm going to rat you out. Click. And then next thing you know, he's pardoned. So, I mean, he was extortion by your own son. That's my theory. That's a conspiracy. Maybe I should put my hat on early.
I think I'd want to read this Hunter laptop book, Hunter Biden laptop.
How do you get that, Ken?
You can get it through, and I have several publications. I have it at my business, and all my liberal friends come through 2 or 3 years ago and laughed at it, and now they're coming back in and they're looking at the facts again. But you can get it through an organization called Marco Polo. It costs $50. There's over 600 pages of the content, photographs of Hunter having sex, if you're interested in that. It's everything that is on that laptop.
Oh, so is it Marco Polo one word or what's that? I'm gonna put
MarcoPolo.org is where you'll find it, but it's $50 is what it is. And it is eye-opening. I bought it several years ago, read through it, and I don't deal in conspiracy theory. I deal in fact, and it's right there in your face is where it's at.
All right, I put it in the thing there. So, all right, everybody get your tinfoil hats on or your mask, according to Brad, and let's wind this thing up before I fall over. Okay, there you go.
Hey, y'all, it's time for the conspiracy theory, so you better get your tinfoil hat out and let's see what's going on this week.
Yep, we got lots of tinfoil stuff going on here. You guys don't even carry them. I do have colanders for you. If I ever see you again, I can get you one and you can doctor it up.
I'm going to pass, okay?
Are you going to pass on the conspiracy?
Yes, I will not be wearing that, okay?
Okay, darn. Well, Curtis did. I mean, I got a picture of it and all that.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, you're gonna wait for him to build up his reputation and throw that out there.
I told him I'm blackmailing him with it. It's awesome. So obviously you heard that. So it was a little racist.
John, I can go first.
Okay, let's go, Brad. Let's go. Get it up.
My conspiracy is that the Democrats will carry on the tradition of the losing side, attempting to stop the steal on January 6th. So I think this is going to become a tradition. In the way of the Olympics. So every 4 years, this is just going to happen now. So the Democrats are all going to gather peacefully and move as one towards the Capitol and then be escorted throughout on a small tour because that's apparently all that happened.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, that's a good one, Brad. I'm impressed.
Democrats feel like the election was stolen from them.
Well, I mean, or you could just say the losing side. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It was all stolen.
They're mad that everybody didn't get to vote twice. I don't understand what's the problem.
I don't know. I just mean the
Here
side.
Here we go.
Just the side that lost gets to go do that.
Yeah, but they're what would be their impetus for a peaceful demonstration?
Bring unity to the country by peacefully, watching the certification of the election.
Okay.
So is it like the Minnesota peaceful demonstrations or more like the, what? I'm sorry. Well, go ahead, Tiffany. What do you got? What do you got?
Well,
you got anything?
The officers just lead them through on tours.
I'm just picking at Brad.
Okay. He's the other way.
I do that too.
Brad.
I got one if you need it.
Yeah, let's go. We'll save Lucy for last because I'm probably not going to have anything. I've used mine on the Hunter Biden.
All right, I think the Epstein list is going to come out, and you're going to see exactly the people that were consuming the adrenochrome. How about that conspiracy theory?
Is that the babies?
That's a conspiracy fact.
Oh, and once they cross-reference that with P. Diddy's list, I will be the next Beyonce.
All right.
I just started taking dance lessons. So there you go.
How long has the Epstein list been a thing?
They're going to be hiring in Hollywood.
Well, you got the Epstein, you got the Weinstein, you got the.
Well, no, but how long has that list been in? How long have we been?
5 years, hasn't it? Has it been 5 years, 4 years?
It's longer than 5. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I don't think I'm on the list. So that's a good thing, probably. Go ahead, Lucy. Are you on the list at the Diddy parties? Did you go to a Diddy party?
No, I'm super boring. Even when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, I didn't go to parties. I'm just boring.
Yeah, that's the least that you are. So what kind of conspiracy fact do you have?
Well, I think Adam Harvey revealed the truth, and I'm here to use the megaphone to blast it out. And Adam said early in there that airplane that you were on in Florida.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. It was probably one of the very first comments of the evening. But he's convinced, and so am I. I mean, there's plenty of evidence that it's a chemtrail plane. So all of that weather that Ryan Hall y'all say is coming. Do you guys watch Ryan Hall y'all for your weather on YouTube? Yeah, he's my favorite. Max is second place. But yeah, so all that weather is actually going to be John's fault, and he's probably paying the electric bill for the harps.
What's a harp?
High altitude High Aurora Altitude Resonance Project.
I thought that was just from the moisture off of the plane. Is that not,
No.
the compression of the air?
If you look into HARP, they're actually broadcasting stations for different frequencies to send out scalar waves. It's a Tesla thing. So they have them all over the world. And if you look at a map of when Hurricane Helene came through and like legitimately look at it, there are people that have analyzed this. The HARP high frequency stations throughout the South were turned on in such a way that sequentially they push that storm.
Okay, well, I don't think we had
No
any
way a
rain.
hurricane's getting up to the Appalachians without some help.
Yeah, my daughter still doesn't have a road to their house, so they're working on it.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, they were up the mountain, so they're good. It's just
Well, did they have any Republican signs in the front yard? Because you don't get
that's
anything done.
let's put it this way: they used to be a Trump person, now they're not. So I don't know
Why
what's
are they
up
not
with
a
that.
Trump person now? I wonder
I
why.
don't know. It's my daughter. So I have to say anything. It's family tradition of silliness. That's what it is. So who do we have left here? We got everybody except mine. I don't have anything. So what kind of host am I? I'm just glad I made it through the show with the illness that I had. It was a heroic effort. I deserve an Emmy for this performance tonight.
Oh, John.
If I had a gold star, I would put it on your poster board.
On my paycheck. Could have put an extra double my paycheck for this week. So it's all good. So
can I get like a W-2? Can I get something like an in-kind for my time?
Yeah, I think we should do that. We could really just like trump this up to make it sound like we really have a big network going here and all that. It'd be great. So
I mean, the fan mail is kind of worth it, though.
Well, most of yours is on Twitter, so that's good. So yeah, saw that. Okay, well, hey Ken, thanks for coming on tonight, and keep up the good fight. I think we're turning the corner here in Indiana. Let's put it this way: they're gonna have to start listening to whoever they are, right? Whoever they are gonna have to start listening. So, all right, panel, it's great to see you. We're gonna try to work on getting Alvin Louis on here so Brad and we can duke it out on the thing. We'll see. We may have to promise not to talk about his personal life. Would you guys be willing to do that? Oh, come on, Brad. Just act like you're not going to and then do it. That's what Democrats do. All right.
Oh, that is what we do.
It is. That's right. Yeah. So, all right. Let's see. I got an ending here somewhere. Oh, that's not the right ending.
George said send me a 1099.
Oh, wait.
1099. No, you don't want a 1099. That's bad. That means you got to pay taxes on stuff that you didn't pay taxes on. Jeez.
Don't you think I have a lot of expenses associated with this?
I know.
I got this new ring on. I got a microphone.
I know.
Computer, makeup, hair. I'm not bragging.
Hey, look at that. The time. Look at the time. It's gone. Hey, we'll see you there.